How many Jotos does it take to start a podcast?
3.
Alejandro,
Joaquin.
And Charlie.
Amid a pandemic, 3 brown queer men from Los Angeles connected through laughs, tears, and joterias.
Yeah, but that was so last year. A lot has happened since season 1. Now we're coming at you bigger, better, y con más orgullo.
you are about to listen to some of our personal experiences as 3 brown Jotos.
Jotángeles, agarren sus bebidas, sus chucherias y súbanle a volumen porque se va a armar.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Charlie, and welcome to another episode of the Three Brown Jotos.
Hi, everyone. This is Alejandro.
Hi, everyone. This is Joaquin. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about the thing that, all of us get scared about. Being brokenhearted and breaking up.
Exes.
Y los exes.
So
y teniendo nuestro corazón roto.
We're going to be talking about the case of the ex.
Yes, all that stuff. So we reached out to you all on Instagram, on the Instagram worlds, and asked you questions about like breakups and like being friends with your exes. And today we're going to talk about that because, we also had someone reach out and say like, y'all never talk about like breakups.
Actually, I want to say this was a suggestion from one of our followers. He suggested that we do an episode on exes and breakups. So we do read your comments.
Yes, and you know who it is. So this is for you, boo, because we love you and we know that you're going through some stuff. So we want to support you as well. So
And we also understand that most of us at some point in our lives may or may not have gone through a breakup.
I mean, there's so many different breakups.
Most of us do.
Yeah.
Well, and
Like, it's part of life, no?
yes, and a breakup doesn't necessarily have to happen between you and a significant other. It could become a breakup between friendships.
And family.
I've had a
And
lot
family,
of those.
so.
Yeah, which is totally okay too. Because,
Okay, pues,
kicking toxic family to the curb is
all right.
perfectly fine.
Pues let's get into this.
Let's do it.
Vamos al mole.
Alrighty. So, I mean, we had some questions we asked y'all. Like, do y'all want to pull up one of the questions real quick?
Well, one of the questions that we asked is, can you be friends with an ex-partner? And if so, like how long after y'all break up can you then be friends? Is there a limit? So, Charlie, a ver, ¿qué opinas?
I think you can be friends, but there's no right answer as to how long. Like, that's up to you. Like, sometimes you need to heal. That can be
Most of the time.
That can be weeks, that can be months, that can be years. So I don't think there's a right answer as when you can be friends. But in my experience, I really only have like 3 real exes. And I'm friends with 2 out of the 3. Well, not really friends. I'm cordial with one. But I think
What does cordial mean?
it just means like
They say hi and that's say who.
no,
Or like we
it's-
see each other at a space and it's like,
Yeah. Hola.
No, and it's also we don't run in the same circle, and so when we do see each other, we're nice to each other. He's not my friend, but I don't have hate towards him, not anymore. But but he has a partner and a baby, and I'm happy for them. But again, I think that was my first relationship, and it did take me a while to get to the friendship
Well,
zone.
yeah.
But eventually, I did. I got there, and it becomes like, that was a past. I learned from it. I was young, and then now we move forward. But I do think you can be friends with your ex.
Joaquin, I want to know about you because you're a Scorpio. And I know that comes with all sorts of things. Well, listen, when you cut someone off, done.
Done.
So I'm curious.
Baby, I might be a different type of Scorpio. Because I don't know. I think, I've definitely been in those situations where I'm like, no, fool, like this, like it was toxic. Like we do not need to talk. Like it was not like really like there's no reason for us to talk. Like we've heard each other enough. Like that's it. I do think that sometimes, with like time and maturity and like healing and healing means a lot of things, right? Like, it could be therapy. It could be, hanging out with friends. It could be like desmadreando. Like it's just, allowing yourself to do that. You could reach a level where you're friends and you can see each other and like, cool. Because at the end of the day, like sometimes it's like, damn, like coming to terms with like, all right, this shit didn't work out. But like, I don't wish you bad. Like I wish you like find your happiness because I'm finding my happiness and what that means to me. So, I mean, it's very, but then also like you said, I'm a Scorpio and sometimes I'm like, bitch, fuck you and your motherfucking crew. Okay?
Yeah, no.
What about you, friend?
Well, I think for those that have been worthwhile relationships, I have remained friends with.
Okay.
To a certain degree. Like, yes, I have the, hey, how you doing? And then I have the ones that I'll reach out to and be like, hey, how's it going? One of the first guy I ever loved, I went to his wedding. I mean, he invited me to his wedding, as you know, and we're still friends to the day. I will always have love for him. Like there's always that
like it was his moment in time.
Yeah, exactly, and it was my first love. So like it's one of those things that I wouldn't remember that, you know. And I wish him the best, just kind of like you said. But we have a tight relationship. There's other exes where it's like we know a lot about each other. So I definitely don't want to wish you any bad like luck. Like I don't want to have bad blood. That's my thing. If things ended, they ended, and I'm cool going our separate ways. We don't need to be homies, but like I'm not trying to disrespect you outside of this. And I would hope that you would feel the same way. Like I hope that you're not out there disrespecting me.
Yeah, and it's different for everyone depending on how you ended.
Exactly.
You know, I think for me, like I am friends with a couple of my exes, and I think because, you know, for a moment in time, like they meant so much to me, and so to suddenly just cut them off like that, it's kind of weird. But at the same time, it did take a while. And you know, Alejandro, or you too. At our wedding, my best man is my ex, and my husband's best man is his ex. And so a lot of people can't understand that, like, what, like, but it's just like my ex-boyfriend my best friend is now my ex-boyfriend. But because we knew each other for so long, and that sometimes we're better off as friends than lovers, or
I mean, relationships have so many definitions, right? Like even with friendships, like sometimes you start off with friends and it can move into like a you know, like an amor platónico, un amor, you know, something like that. And sometimes you like figure out, you get with somebody and you figure out like, damn, maybe we're best as homies.
Yeah.
Like we're better off because like I like vibing with you. I like being a, you know, like a wing person with you, right? Like we can go pick up together or whatever it may be, you know. But I mean, it definitely, I think mental health plays a role into it, right? Like where you're at with yourself, like, you know, security, insecurities, the way, if you've been able to heal from traumas and things like that. Because I think we do, as much as we try to be like, oh no, like I'm fine, like, you know, if you haven't taken care of yourself, like you are carrying some of that stuff, and there's no way that doesn't get played onto the relationship. Right? Like if you have these two people that like are, you know, still working through things, because we're all working through I feel like you never stop working through things.
No, you don't.
Like, you know, like we manage, right? We like take care of ourselves. We come up with game plans and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I want to get into some of these responses that people had because it was cute.
So why don't you read the first question?
So I have one for y'all. One of the responses was, no, there's no reason. Things ended. It should end there. So again, I think there's this line where for some, and I've dated individuals like this, they're like, if things end, that's it. I don't want to be your friend. I'm not trying to be your friend. I'm not trying to be your homie. Like none of that. Ya se acabó aquí. And I'm like, damn, to me, that mentality is a little harsh for me because I don't necessarily feel that way sometimes. I feel like, we dated, we were in a relationship, but I think that what also happens is you form another layer of a relationship. Like you realize maybe that you like going out with this person. Like you like hanging out outside of the realm of a relationship. You like partying with them. Te gusta ir al perreo with them. But like as a lover, no. But I think people don't often realize that. Sometimes people are very like, that's it. Se cortó y se acabó. And that's it. So that's one response was that.
Like, most of the responses I got, the majority was like, no, we can't be friends. But I think in every, like for myself in relationships, I learn from every relationship before I get to the next one. Because sometimes you got to realize, like, maybe you were the toxico in the relationship.
I was just going to say, I'm like, you know, sometimes I feel like I haven't learned shit. I'm like, but then I'm like, damn.
Yeah, and so sometimes, like,
maybe that's the lesson.
In the next relationship, I'm like, oh, maybe I should check myself before this. Or, like, I was jealous for no reason. Or, like, you know, you have to check yourself.
I hate that toxico word so much, too. I hate that, like, whole, like, oh, el tóxico, la tóxica. It's like, no, it's not toxic. Like it's shit that we haven't healed through or we haven't worked through.
I get it,
shit,
but it's just a saying. Yeah.
But yeah, no, but I'm not talking. I'm just saying, like I get, like, you know.
I actually hear you, but some of our behaviors.
Oh, definitely. I mean, yeah.
Toxic,
But what I guess what I'm saying is like, are we perpetuating stigma and shame around like us not addressing those things that we need to heal from, and like whether it be traumas, whether it be like, you know, pain, whatever it may be, and giving it like a fucked up name by saying like, oh, that's some toxic shit. It's like, well, maybe let's address it differently.
Okay, well, let me ask you, what is a toxic trait? after a breakup?
Oh, damn.
Like, is it keying a car or
Yes.
like?
Oh, duh. Yeah.
Stalking?
Like, stalking.
Stalking.
Yeah. Not
Yes.
respecting boundaries.
Like making calls to the family, to friends.
yeah.
To me, that's a little, again.
That's
that's
never
a little-
happened to me, or I've
that's
never,
a
but
little-
it's
No,
like,
it's
yeah.
never happened to me, but it's happened to friends. It's like, come on, guys, that's not cool.
Luckily, luckily it hasn't happened either. But those are things that you do hear of.
Or
You
like
hear
going
of-
on social media and like putting all your shit out there, like, and being
Yeah,
like,
or
this
like
person is, like-
revenge porn, and that can happen like not just for gay men.
I mean,
for
yeah,
like women
everyone,
too.
yeah.
Definitely. So I mean, again, I think that there are boundaries. Some relationships don't end well. So why would you want to keep them in your life? When
Yeah.
we're talking about like those habits, those things that are maybe seen as toxic traits, you should know then and there.
Yeah. Well, that leads me to the next question is that we posted. Is it okay to have sex with an ex?
Shit.
And this one was very, like, we got mixed response to this. Some said yes, some said no, some said never.
Well, in some cases, you end up back with your ex.
I mean, okay, well, that's a whole different question, friend. Let's stick to the fucking part first. So, like, I mean, I feel like, damn, that's a really hard question because, like, if it's bomb, but then also, like, if
Okay,
it
so
ended for some
can
reason.
the dick be bomb and the relationship sucks?
Yes.
Oh, 100.
So is that enough to keep you in the
100%.
relationship?
It's very, very personal, very depending, right? But like for me, like I feel like I attach sex and emotion a lot, right? Like I'm much more of like, oh, let's make that connection, or like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Although it could be very transactional sometimes as well. As far as like, this is what we're getting out of it. But I don't know, like maybe like I would get like emotions out of it. And I would like be like, wait.
Well,
you know?
have you guys had sex after an argument?
I mean, that's some of the best.
And why is
sex,
this so
right?
good? Yeah.
Right? Like, why we gotta go through all
I
that?
think there's that anger, like, oh, fuck you. But then, like, oh, yes, please do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the next question. Does closure really help?
Damn.
But what's closure?
Yeah.
Like, what's closure to you?
Damn.
Like, I think closure for me, it's honestly like maybe you guys both sit down and talk and be like, hey, like, it was fun while it lasted. No hate here. But it ran its course.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes, like, do you really need closure, right? Like, maybe the closure is the things that are left unsaid. Like, maybe it's like, shit, like, this was bad enough. Like, this, like, hurt. Like, I'm down on the ground. Like, I'm just going to pick myself up, like, and that's it. Like,
Well,
I don't
it's
know.
different for everyone. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
For
I don't
those who are listening to us, like, let us know. Do you guys need closure?
That's kind of hard because I feel like for me, closure is important.
Yeah.
Like I want to close that door. I don't want to be in my head guessing the whys. Like when you're like, do we need closure? Yeah, to a certain extent.
But what does
Because
closure
there-
mean?
But there will.
Because I feel like, do you ever really get full closure?
That's what I was gonna say. Is I don't know if there's ever full closure of a relationship, even when both parties are like, this is why this is happening.
Yeah.
Because I think there will always be some sort of feeling there. It's more than just a relationship. You build bonds, and bonds are harder to break than relationships.
Well, besides
are.
bond, like maybe you bought a house together or you have property.
I mean,
together.
that's
we're
like
not even
financial
talking-
connection, right? Like,
Yeah.
We're not even talking
ready
about
for
the
that, honey.
financial
No.
part because I mean that we're just talking about just on a basic relationship level. But yes, when we are talking about our like individuals or listeners who are married and have gone through divorces, I know one of the comments was, "Yes, I'm friends with my ex. We divorced 3 years ago and we're really good friends." And I understand that when you end things amicably, then it works out better. But there are messy situations where you buy a house together and it's like, now what?
Yeah.
I mean, let's say it's not a house. What if it's a fucking pet? What
Oh
if
my
do you
God,
know what I'm
that's so
saying?
true.
Like, what if it's the dog and the dog that you take care of, and he's like, no, yo quiero el perro, yo te lo compré. Joaquin's mouth, exactly. Like, it can get very messy.
then
Like, what if you and Claire break up? What's gonna happen to Yoshi?
Yoshi's hers. I'm
they're
just
never
the
gonna
gunkle.
there never gonna break up.
They're
And
not,
that's a
though.
20+ year
We
relationship.
love Claire.
Yeah, but what if you have kids?
Damn. I mean, even harder because
that's
then
not gonna
it's
happen.
not only about you, then it becomes about others as well.
Right.
And if that ends messy, that's messed up because then you're not only dragging yourself,
Baby,
them,
that
the relationship.
generational trauma is real.
Yeah.
It's a lot. You end up affecting other people as well.
So one of the responses we got is, yes, I'm friends with him, but his new man can't handle me.
Which is valid, which is very valid. I think that like if you become friends with an ex-partner and they end up with someone else, a new husband, a new boyfriend, whatever it is, and they know what kind of relationship you had before then, they essentially know like, oh, this motherfucker's seen him naked. Oh, they've had sex together. They know all of the things. And I think that it can be a little bit like, oh, threatening to some people.
I mean, yeah, I think so, right? Like, I think it's also like you said, like it's, I mean, we're all individuals and we all carry different things and we all bring different things to the table, whether good or bad. And sometimes, like it also, I think it has to do a lot with communication, right? Like at least for this question or what we're talking about right now, it's like, what are the boundaries that you have that you're able to communicate with your partner who is going to either at that place decide whether they're going to make it a safe space and a comfortable space for you within those thoughts, whatever your thoughts may be, or they're going to think more about what their needs and their thoughts are. Right. So like for me, I feel like if you're able to have a partner who's like, well, yeah, like, I'm actually going to create space within me and my ex because I want to give you your space. And that's totally fine, too. Like, I feel like that's OK. Like no one should be made feel like that's not also OK.
Yeah. Well, right now, when you said that, one question that popped in my head right now that we didn't ask is when you're in a relationship with someone, you guys create friends together and then you guys break up and then your friends are like left to either choose between one or the other. Or they remain friends with both of you. Have you guys been in that situation?
I mean, yeah, right. Also, like, I think that we're coming from, like, as much as I hate talking about, like, oh, like, age is like, blah, blah, blah. But for me, like, age has brought, like, different ways of wavelengths of thinking about things, right? Maybe in my 20s, I was like, man, fuck that fool and his friends. I don't fucking need them. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. Like, my friends are way doper. I'm like, still are, but I also think that now I'm like, wait, like, no, like you make these connections with these human beings for a reason. Like there's maybe like, you were kicking it with his best friend at a party and like y'all had that moment where it was like, damn, I really like this person and I really like that person. And like that, I feel like those friendships and those connections are what kind of fulfill us as humans and like kind of lead us in our journey, right? That like, why would we eliminate that because one relationship or one situation didn't work out the way that we wanted?
Yeah. I think there are moments where when you're on the end of like, why is he hanging out with my friends? That you kind of question that. I know I've questioned that myself.
I would question my friends. I'd be like, oh, y'all fake as fuck.
But that's what I'm saying. You would question something about it, right? But at the end of the day, you're right. Like bonds are made, connections are made, and you don't have control of it.
I've been that person where my friend dates, and for some reason I become friends with all his exes.
That's because you're a fun friend.
But it's just like, damn fool, you date good, like fun dudes. Like, of course I'm gonna be friends with them. And my friend might be like, "What the fuck?
Yeah,
why are you friends with all my exes?"
That's totally the response for that one. That's totally
like, why are you friends with all my exes? I'm like, well, they're cool. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. I think that it's sometimes people just feel threatened of the unknown. Like, I don't know who this fool is. Like, I don't know what their intentions are. Maybe you're trying to sleep with my man again.
I gotta to add layers to that. What about with family?
Oh,
I mean, that becomes tough, and I've never experienced that, but in my friendships, one of them was like the brothers of the individual was like, hey, I still like your ex, like we have fun together. Are you okay with us hanging out? If you're not, then I won't cross that line because you're my sister or you're my sibling, and so I think that there should be a check-in. I feel like at minimal there should be a check-in. I can't control after that. I can tell you, you know what? I don't like that. Sabes que no me gusta, and this is why.
Like keep me in the loop, huh? Like okay, I feel you.
Yeah. Again, outside you don't have control of that, but minimal for me. Pregúntame.
Yeah.
I mean,
Friend, you?
Yeah.
Family.
With one of my ex, I was close to his dad, but then my ex told me like, "Hey, I'm not cool with you hanging out with my dad," and so I had to respect that. I'm like, I get it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. I feel the same. I feel like I said, like, it's like, we're all humans. We make a bond. Like, like if you're like close as hell with my cousin, with my sister, with my brother, and y'all still like, you have that connection, like go for it. Like, why not? Like who are we to stop each other from like making these bonds? I feel.
Okay, so I have a question. When we're talking about exes, when do we know, like, ya es tiempo? This is it.
Ooh,
Like,
And
this
that was
is
one
it.
of the that was one of the questions.
Yes, it is. When do we know when this is it? Like, at what point should we come to that realization? What do y'all think? With that said and done, this is Three Brown Jotos out.